Before we begin the video, if you haven't yet, come on down and join my Discord server. Link is down in the description. Hey guys, welcome back for my review of episode 5 of Seabound, The Wrath of Kalmaar. This episode introduces more of Kalmaar, and we hear Nia talk about the other amulet and the keepers. Definitely some callbacks to the island here. Then we meet King Trimar and his adoptive son Benthomar, and he suspects that Kalmaar has sunk the Hydra bounty, but he denies it. Back at the Temple of Infinite Seas, Nia and Maya break out by climbing on top of the pole, and as they escape, the Merlopians release sharks on them. And back at the bounty, it starts to flood, so Jay actually decides to use his lightning to power it back on, and we get this kind of like a sacrifice scene where he goes underwater and risks his life to power the bounty back on, and this works, and so they set off in search of Nia and Maya. First off, I like that this episode shows us more of Kalmaar. This guy seriously reminds me of Pythor, you know, with the accent, even the design, but also just the general way he is, even his personality. It is nice to see another Pythor type villain. Also, this episode definitely references Season 14 a few times, so I like that they bring up the island and the keepers and the storm amulet. Nia is still great. It's pretty funny how she basically refuses to tell the prince anything. And I also like the entire escape scene. I feel like that was a nice action scene. I also have to say, I do like the Merlopians. It feels like they're giving them more attention than they have for past armies. You have the scientist guy, you have the gold guy. It's not just Kalmaar and a bunch of random henchmen as it has been in past seasons, such as Season 13. So I do like that they are introducing more specific Merlopian characters. And of course, this also includes the King and Benthomar. Very nice scene. You really get a feel for these three characters. Trimar is, rightfully suspicious of his son. Benthomar seems a lot more innocent, gullible almost. And Kalmaar is just a complete liar. This episode kind of shows that he does what he does because he is basically racist or mad at humans for stealing Ninjago, I guess, and he just wants to bring them down, so he sinks ships just for fun. Again, a very nice introduction to these two, and really nice character building just from this one scene. I do have issues with the J stuff, we're going to get to that, but I really like how he does all of this for Nia. He says that at the end of the episode, a small but very important, very good detail. Also, I have to say the soundtrack was very good in this episode. There are several new tracks here, I think. All of them were really nice. But that brings us to some of the bad stuff. Maya just kind of irritates me in this episode. Feels like, once again, some of her behaviors are annoying. But the big issue for me was the Jay sacrifice scene. I am not a fan at all when they use Zane's death music. They do use it here. It's not a good choice. It just feels very overdramatic and kind of cringe-inducing. I feel like even without the music, this sacrifice just isn't the best. There's just not really enough build-up to it, and also it's completely predictable. Nothing really comes from the sacrifice. Obviously, Jay doesn't die. I mean, he was never going to. So the plot of this episode, it was okay. I mean, the whole Jay plot just feels... It's kind of a nice thought, but it feels very forced. Just doesn't really play out well. As for the main plot of this episode, with the prince and his father and stuff, pretty good, I have to say. And as for characters, well, Prince Kalmaar definitely does stand out. And also Nia. These two are the main two characters of this season. So it is very important for both to be good, and so far they are. As for action, pretty nice escape from the temple. Lastly, emotion. The Jay sacrifice, it is good character growth for him, but I have to say the scene itself just isn't the best. So I'll give this episode an 8 out of 10. I felt this was an average Ninjago episode. Personally, it is my least favorite of the season so far, but that doesn't really say much because this is still a good episode, and the others are as well. But I do feel like there were good parts of this episode, but there were also not so good parts. And that is about all. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know. Share your thoughts on this episode below, and I'll see you next time.